007, turn right, heading 185, reduce speed 180 knots.
185 on the heading, 180 on the speed Gulf Air 007.
Speedbird 124, reduce speed 160 knots to 40 me.
Reduce 160 to 4, speed 124.
Hello there guys, Matt here. I am back. It's been a week since I posted a video. A goddamn week. I am slacking. Well, I'm not really. I'm just really busy, and everything that I'm doing will eventually come to light and you'll hopefully enjoy it. But right now I just feel like I'm doing a lot of behind the scenes stuff and very little output is coming from that, but it all will come together eventually. Anyway, enough about my life. How are you all doing? I hope very well. Indeed, we are today back in, not FSX actually, in P3D, although you can't see that yet. We're going to be flying the last part, so part 3 of the Speedbird rotation from London City, Shannon, JFK, and then back to London City. Today being the JFK London City. This is going to be one of the most challenging ones out of all 3 of them. Not least because of the fact that we have to manage a 5.5 degree glide path, or glide slope, into London City. Thankfully we have something called the steep approach mod, which will aid us in the descent on that thing. But still, it's not fun. Well, no, it is fun. It's not fun at the same time. It's a bit of a love-hate relationship. It's super fun if you nail it, but if you don't, it's really not. There's a video actually I want you to watch just before you watch this video. I will link it below. It's of a Swiss Avro landing at London City, and how the thing didn't break up when it smashed into the ground, I have no idea. But that's the sort of stuff you're contending with at London City. It's not pleasant. At the same time, it's a huge thrill. So, right in front of you, you can see PFPX. No, it's a P3D then. PFPX. And first things first, we need to plan this. Now, I wasn't going to show the planning stage for part 3. Too many P's. I wasn't going to show the planning stage for part 3, but a lot of people asked about the transatlantic stuff and what that entails. So I'm going to kind of whiz through it really quickly, then I'm going to explain stuff about something called equal time points, and then I'm going to jump into the sim and we'll actually do some flying. So if you're already familiar with this, skip forward by about 6 or 7 minutes and then you'll be back into the sim. So first thing we need to do is obviously set the flight number with Speedbird 2, and we are going from JK, oh my god, I'll try that again, KJFK to EGLC, and it is apparently going to take us off runway 4 right. The commercial flight number is BA002. We're in Golf Echo Uniform November Alpha. It's exactly the same setup as I showed you in part 1, I think it was, so nothing's changed there. We want to randomize the payload, taking 22 people today, and we have a max capacity of 32, as you saw in the other parts. And what we need to do now is something which I do personally. It may not be the correct way to do it. There is also a massively long way around doing this as well, but I don't really fancy doing that, to be honest. So press find and then press advanced, and then what you want to do is check this box that says wind optimize route, and also find upper airspace. PFPX, I don't know what's wrong with it, but if you use auto or if you use lower, which why would you do that when you're flying nearly 3,000 miles? If you use those, you tend to get quite a funky route. So for this sort of flight, you want to optimize the wind, and you also want to use upper airspace. So if you press find, it will do its thing, and it will give you a routing, which looks pretty reasonable. So we are departing from JFK out through Merritt, and then Putnam, is it? Is that what PUT is? Over Boston, Tuskegee, out over the northeast of Canada, kind of. Yeah, that's Moncton, and then Gander, etc. Okay, then we enter the Gander Oceanic airspace, and then from there to the Shamwick Oceanic airspace, then in through Ireland, over Shannon, and then into the western country of the UK, just north of Cardiff and Bristol, and then we descend down into London City, should I say, on the Spear 1 Alpha arrival from Gavgo, etc, etc. So that's all optimized based on wind and upper routings, which is what we want it to do. Okay, we'll let it find destination alternates. It's probably going to give us a few odd ones. Yeah, it did. It gave us Biggin, which I don't want, so I'm just going to get rid of that. and actually maybe that wasn't such a good idea. No, that's fine. Then we can go to ETOP setup. Okay. Now with ETOP setup, BA and apparently Canada as well, when they did the A319s. Although this is a 318, they use 319s. But anyway, they use 180 minutes, which is pretty good actually for something of that size. I would have thought it would be a lot smaller. But 180 minutes. The way we do this is we have to pick 2 airports on which are suitable diversion fields. In this case, it's given us a bunch of recommendations. I'm going to use one of them, but the other one I'm going to change. So the very first one is going to be a place called St. John's, which is just kind of in this area here. So on ETP Airports 1, just type CYYT, and then we want something on the other side of the Atlantic. So I'm going to use Shannon, because why not? We came out of Shannon here, we might as well go back if there's a problem. So we do that, and then when we tab along, they will draw 2 big circles. Well, circles, whatever. They've got like eyes, to be honest. So yeah, that is essentially 180 minutes. This big circle here, anywhere inside this is within 180 minutes of St. John's, and anywhere inside here is 180 minutes of Shannon. Now, there's obviously going to be a discrepancy in the middle because there's a crossover right here. So right in the middle somewhere is something called an equal time point. Now, an equal time point is essentially the halfway mark between here and here, between St. John's and Shannon. So it will give you, when we compute the flight, which we will do now, fuel require. Oh, okay, I just screwed up there. Let me just change this a little bit. So let's knock the cargo down to like 5,000 or something and see if it'll let me do that. There we go, it let me compute it. Okay, we're just a little bit overweight there. Okay, so what I was saying was about ETP1s. Oh, okay, it's already done it. You can see it there, see ETP1. So ETP1 means that we are flying along this route, and then when we hit ETP1, should something happen prior to hitting ETP1 on this route, that we are going to go to St. John's, okay? Once we pass this ETP1, so once we're this way, so once we're to the east of ETP1, anything that happens that requires us to divert, we will be going to Shannon. It's really that simple. There's a lot more to it if we had an aircraft that was capable of programming more things, but we don't. The most we have in the Airbus at the moment, I don't know if they're going to upgrade it in the future, but probably not. But the most we have in the Airbus at the moment is the ability to enter the ETP1 in the legs page of the FMGS. MCDU, the computer, the management computer. So to find that ETP1, first of all, let me just release the flight and let me just export it. Save that. Probably overwrite the one that I just did 5 minutes ago and then had to re-record it. Yep, there we go. What we need to do is go to. Actually, let me save it first. So we'll save it on the desktop. Yeah, we want to overwrite that. And if you heard that cargo passed, I'm sorry. My window's open. It's extremely hot. We need to go to flight plan. And from flight plan we've got all the weights there, etc. But what we need to do is go down and look at one engine out ETP1 for St. John's to Shannon. This is a coordinate, yeah, not the whole thing, just that there. We can put that in the FMC in the computer. I'll show you how to do that when we get over to flight sim. But this means that in 3 hours and 14 minutes of flying, once we pass that point, that's kind of the point of no return. We would then continue onwards to Shannon should we have a problem. If it happens before 3 hours and 14, then we're coming back and landing at St. John's. Okay, so now that's out the way, we need to look at where it lies within the kind of order of things. So what we need to do is we need to look at how it flows. So YQX, we need to find that. That's Gander right there. So Gander, from Gander we're going to 50 north, 50 west, which is this point here, and then from there we're going to 52 north and 40 west, which is exactly here. Now we're looking at these range rings here, they're overlapping, so when we know the ETP is going to be somewhere here. So between 52 north 40 west and 53 north 30 west, we have ETP1. You can see it right here. So between 5240 and 5330 there is ETP1. That is not required to be programmed, but just for peace of mind I would do it. Okay, so when we get into the sim, you'll see this be programmed, you'll see this be programmed, but then in the middle we'll add another user-defined waypoint. I can't remember the exact name of them, to be honest, but basically it's entering a waypoint in manually using coordinates, and it shows up as an identifier, and that will be going in the middle of these two. So that is exactly what we're going to do as far as ETPs go. I hope that explained it well enough. I don't think there's really anything else I can say. This isn't a 777, this isn't a 747, it's nothing like that. It doesn't have anything built into it like you would in those things, especially Aerosoft haven't modeled anything like that on the ND, so we can't really play around with it that much, but we can show ETPs, which is good enough for me. Okay, I have rambled on far too much. Everything else is good to go, everything else is exported. We've got weights, we've got flight plans, we've got the weather, we're in P3D, we're in the beta version of the Airbus. Oh my god, is that it? Yeah, it is. Okay, I'll speak to you in about 2 seconds, but it's going to take me about 40 minutes to load up the sim, because yay for slow loading. Anyway, speak to you over there. Well, here we are in P3D version 2.3, the good old Airbus. Now, the gates at JFK for some reason have vanished. I'm not entirely sure why. I did try and fix it, but I couldn't. However, I am sick of delaying this video, and for the sake of a bit of scenery not working, I really couldn't care less. However, GSX is working just fine, and now the Airbus is as well, which is quite fun. There was a problem with checklists, that's why this video took a little bit longer than it should have done, and I know a lot of people were saying don't use them, but whatever. Anyway, let us get this show on the road to the flight deck. Okay, so checklists, now they work, we can use them. We can turn them on, and we'll start with the cockpit prep stuff, like so. Let him run through that.
Okay, let's start with the cockpit preparation checklist.
And then while we're doing that, actually, we can load the fuel from the load sheet. Okay, that's not actually quite right. I need to change the passengers, because for some reason it's given us a little bit more than what we planned. So our passenger count today is 22. So we'll stick 22 in there, and our fuel is 16.4, I think. Yeah, 16.4. So 16.4, and in we go. Alright, so I think that's it. We can just load that now. So boarding, cargo, and fuel, and leave that to do its thing.
On. Emergency lights.
Set.
No smoking signs.
Set on.
Anti-ice.
All off.
Probe window heat.
The bloom effect in P3D is a little bit too much for me sometimes,
Ventilation panel.
but oh well, it is what it is. I have to turn the brightness on the gauges down, because it just literally looks like I've got EMB and I don't have EMB.
Set on.
Hydraulics.
But anyway, what we can do while we're waiting is just turn the IRSs on. It's one thing for him to do, or one thing less for him to do.
All on.
And then
Flight
once the
control system.
ADIRU is on, or yeah, it is. ADIRS even.
Checked.
777 Airbus getting
Emergency
confused. Anyway, to the FMC. So we have a company route stored, which is KJFK EGLC and 01. When it eventually loads that. Okay, there we go. And we've got an alternate of Heathrow, which is EGLL. And from that, we can align the RS. We are Speedbird number 2 with a cost index of 90 and an initial cruise level of flight level 350. Fuel today is 16.4 tons. Okay, we can check out the flight plan page with all the legs and everything apart from the departure. It says 04 right, so I'm going to change that. We're going to go from 04 left, and that's on the Merit 3. I might not put this in properly, which it hasn't. So what we need to do is write in manually Merit, because that's where it goes first, and then we'll stick that on top of Putnam, and then after that is Hartford, which is Hotel Foxtrot Delta, and then we'll stick that on top of Putnam again. So it should go Merit, Hartford, Putnam, and that's right, Boston, Scott, etc. Good stuff. Okay, so now to enter in ETP1, like I showed you in the planning. So it's November, and then 5232.2, and then west, or /west 035 43. What is it? 43.3 which is there, and then we can put that in, and that will then give us an identifier of something, whatever it usually plans itself as. I think it's like LL01, so yeah, there you go, LL01. So that's our ETP. ETP1 is now set. Go to the perf page using flaps 1 today with a D rate of 38. Speeds are all as is, 18k transition altitude, etc. And yeah, that's it. So now we just need to wait for the IRSs to align. I guess we can set some radios and transponder and stuff. So 2200 in the transponder, and well, we could do Unicom, I suppose. So 122.8. Boarding's complete.
Okay, let's do the before start checklist.
Windows and doors.
Closed and locked.
APU.
Set on.
APU bleed.
Good old APU startup times, forever winning. GSX is finally ready.
Set on.
External power.
Disconnected and off.
Cabin signs.
Set on.
Thrust levers.
Idle.
Parking brake.
On.
Bearer reference.
3006.
3006. Check. Beacon lights.
Set on.
Checklist complete.
Good stuff. Okay, so we're pretty much ready to go. So I need to initiate the inbuilt start procedure on this thing when the IRSs are actually finally done aligning. There we go. And then we can get pushed back and we can start up. We're on whiskey at the moment and we're taxiing to 4 left, so it's a pretty long taxi, but I'll edit that bit out. But anyway, just turn down these brightness. This is what I mean about the bloom. It's really, really bad in P3D. That needs to be fixed, I guess. And my mouse just spazzed out there. That was fun. Maybe if I turn HDR off or something, that will fix it. But anyway, let's start this. So start the pushback procedure thing.
Okay, ground. We have ATC clearance for start and the taxi now. So please confirm ground equipment and services are clear.
Roger.
Okay,
You're
cool.
up on the trucks today, Captain, so your ground equipment and stairs are clear and all doors are closed. Ready when you are.
Is
Sweet.
okay.
Well, we can release the parking brake and we can get underway. Oh, here we go, pushing back. Push back, we can start engine number 2 first and then 1, so flex number 2.
Starting engine 2.
And number 2 is online.
Engine 2
There we go,
is
now we can start
stabilized.
engine numero 1.
Starting number 1.
The bloom on the clouds is real.
Engine 1 stabilized. And that's a good start on both engines. All systems are normal. Thank you for your help and all clear. We see you for signal on the right, please.
Roger, 2 good starts, all clear signals. See you on the right.
After start, checklist, please.
Engine mode selector.
Set.
APU bleed.
Set off.
APU master.
Set off.
Ground spoilers.
Set.
Rudder trim.
Checked 0.
Pitch trim.
Set.
Flight controls.
Full left.
Please work. There we go. Full right. Full come on. Full right. Okay, there we go.
Full right.
And full
Neutral.
up. And full
Full
down.
Full down.
Use rudders. Full
Rudder.
left. And
Full
full
left.
right.
Full right. Neutral.
Check. Flaps.
Flaps going down to 1.
Flaps 1.
Don't need
Anti-ice.
that.
All off.
ECAM status.
Checked.
ECAM door page.
Checked.
Hand signal.
Received.
Checklist complete.
And the taxiing checklist.
No flight.
So
Set
you need
on.
to turn right here.
Check.
And then taxi on
Middle
Alpha,
crest,
and then
check
Alpha to
0.
Kilo, and then all the
Check.
way to the end of 04
brakes.
left. It's going to be an
Max.
epic taxi.
Takeoff
Probably
data.
takes about 10-15 minutes in real life,
Review.
I'd assume.
FCU.
Checked.
Wow, that turn.
Flight
Good job,
instruments.
Matt.
Checked.
Check. TO config.
Set.
Checklist complete.
Before takeoff checklist, please.
So here we are, runway
Brake
04
temperature.
left.
Checked.
Before takeoff
Brake cam.
checklist is
All
underway.
off.
Engine
I'm
mode
just going to do a
selector.
rolling takeoff actually.
Check
I'm not even going
normal.
to stop.
TCAS.
Just going to go. Away we go.
TARA tilde above.
Exterior lights.
The lights are real.
Set on.
Sliding tables.
Stowed.
Stowed. Checklist complete.
Right then. Are you ready? Let's go. 50%. Stable and flex.
Takeoff. Man, flex, SRS, and
Check.
runway.
Power set. Knots.
Checked.
Here's the cross runway.
Speed 1. Rotate.
Tight. Oh, a little bit of wind. Nice.
Positive climb.
Gear up.
Gear up.
Nav.
Check.
Flying in a straight line to Merit.
Gears up. Lights off.
Approaching climb mode or climb power. There we go.
Time thrust.
And that is us, ladies and gentlemen, all the way now up to flight level 350. We'll stick the autopilot on.
Autopilot is going
Away
on.
we go. Okay, so here we are in the cruise at flight level 370, and normally I just play music and let it overrun itself, because music and flying seem to go hand in hand pretty well. But anyway, for those of you that follow me on Facebook and Twitter, you will notice that I've been putting a lot of questions on there over the coming, or actually over the recent days, about add-ons and other things as well. First of all, it started off with I wanted to know what you thought my best video was, and then secondly I wanted to ask you if you would like to see an add-on come to the flight simulator market. Now, I've had a lot of response even on Facebook, but I know not all of you are on Facebook or Twitter, so have your say. If you want to suggest in the comments or email or wherever a add-on that you would like to come to the flight simulator market that would enhance your simming experience, then do tell me. There is a reason behind it, I promise. I'm not being paid to find this out. I'm just completely curious as to what you would like to see. Answers on a postcard are most welcome. At the moment, on Facebook, people like the idea of a multi-crew environment, the ability to share their cockpit with friends, with other pilots, virtual pilots, etc. So, let me know what you think, and of course, if it's a pretty unanimous vote for one thing, then we may look into it. We'll see. But yeah, that's all I wanted to say. You can enjoy the rest of the elevator music and panning around ferociously. I am not quite sure why the altitude horn keeps going off, but anyway, this is the arrival. So runway 27, Spear 1 Alpha, and it's pretty self-explanatory. That altitude horn is really something different, isn't it? Jesus, man, Jesus. Anyway, our transition altitude is 6,000 feet, and we are looking today at a surface wind, I think, if active sky would load, of 210 degrees at a measly 8 knots, which should be quite fun. Anyway, the QNH is 1010, and the temperature is 20 degrees. We have a decision altitude as well of 490 feet. So that's all done. That is us ready to go. Scrolling through everything, make sure everything is there, which it is.
Radar tilt.
Okay, so we're just starting the descent now. We're just approaching top of descent into London City. Been in the air now for quite some time. Just over 5 hours. And yeah, the weather isn't looking too great. I may just point that out to you. It doesn't seem to be too pleasing, but hopefully it'll clear up as we get further into the descent even. Weather's a little better. Hooray! Not as bad as it was, but yeah, I mean the wind is only small. It's only 8 knots from the from the southwest. So I don't know. It looks better than, or it looks worse even than the MEDAR suggests it is. MEDAR, Americans. Lol. There's some weird haze. Maybe that's just P3D and active sky. I'm not quite sure. Either way, it's not too bad. Seems like I jinxed the weather. It is absolutely atrocious. I just got a surface wind check, and it is from the southwest still, but gusting up to 24 knots, which is not fun. We're currently descending to 3,000 feet, and then soon we're going to make a right turn for the ILS. Fingers crossed that this isn't going to be too bad. The clouds are interesting though, I'll give it that. Look at the rain. So we'll start the turn right now, and we have everything set up. So we're ILS runway 27. You can see the distance in the bottom left there of the primary flight display, so that's the display on the left. The speed we can start to slow down to, well, we'll just let it manage it for the moment, and then we'll just extend the flaps accordingly. Turn some lights on, it's a bit dark. So the idea behind this is, we'll just stick the gear down just to give it a bit more drag. The idea behind this is that you are fully configured by the time you are on the ILS and descending, yeah? And as soon as you hit the glide path, you bring out the speed brake, or the spoiler, the thing on the wing that goes vertical. So we'll turn a little bit more to the right, we'll keep the speed coming down, and we'll employ some more flaps. And then by the time we turn on to the ILS, we will be in a sort of semi-stable state, and then we just need to concentrate on flying the glide, which is pretty difficult at 5.5 degrees. We're probably going to be hitting at like, well, at least 1,000 feet, if not 12 or 1,300 feet a minute descent rate on the glide path, which is pretty intense. So we'll start a sort of shallow right turn to intercept. And the frame rate is never very good in FSX and P3D anywhere when you're in London. It's not fun, but it's flyable, it's watchable, I hope. Okay, so we'll turn right now to let's make it 240, and then we'll from that we'll arm the localizer. Well, we're already armed the localizer, should I say? And we will pick that up very soon. I'm hoping we're not going to have to descend anymore, because I really wanted to establish at 3,000 feet. Okay, there's the localizer. Approach mode as well. We can start to descend on the glide path. Now we put the spoilers out. That's exactly what we need to do. We can turn the other autopilot on.
Autopilot is on.
And now we start to descend with the glide. Watch the vertical speed. The weather is horrible. I can't take the autopilot out just yet. Once we get clear of that cloud base, we'll be okay. I hope.
2,500.
So radio calls. Notice something as well, as we get a little bit lower and it starts to come over towards the threshold, listen to the call outs. They're not the same as your standard Airbus. It's pretty nice. That wind, oh my god. Yeah, they weren't kidding about gusty winds, were they? Anyway, I think we should ditch the autopilot, shall we? And
Auto flight
here we
off.
go. Autopilot is out. My aircraft. This is fun. The descent rate doesn't feel natural. It really doesn't. I feel like I'm nosediving it. Normally with an Airbus, you're kind of maybe 5'2", between sort of 2 and 5 degrees nose up on the glide. But not this time.
1,000.
feet. As stable as it will ever be. Just don't want to drop below the glide, which I'm about to do if I'm not careful. My god, this wind.
Hundred above.
Here we go.
500. Minimum
Landing. Oh, the wind.
400.
Sink rate.
Oh, jeez.
300.
Stay straight, you.
200.
Come on. Here we go.
Sink rate.
There's that weird call.
50,
Flare.
40, 30, 20.
Bit of rudder.
Redescend,
Come on.
5.
There we go. Ooh. That wasn't too bad. Okay, but now we need every bit of braking power that we've got. Auto brake is on medium. The spoilers are already out. Reversers are green. Decel is real. That was intense. That was seriously intense. So, we can vacate here, clean everything up, and we're going to taxi to stand number, what is it? We came off 22, I think, so we'll go back to 22. So, here we are, stand 22, attempting to park. The lines have disappeared. I don't quite know why, so I'm just going to kind of guess where I'm meant to go. I don't really know. I'm probably going to wipe that thing out in the turn. Maybe bad parking, bad parking. Just forget you didn't, you saw that. Actually, this isn't looking too bad. Yeah, if those stairs weren't there, that would have been quite good. Oh well. There we go. Parking brake set. Shut her down. So, there we go. Part 3 in the bag. Sorry it took so long. It was a bit of fun. Slightly challenging. Actually, no, more than slightly challenging. It's pretty daunting. But yeah, I hope you, as always, enjoyed it. If you did, let me know. And if you didn't, let me know. And until the next video from a very wet London city, take care. And see you later, guys. Bye bye.